Grab the duct tape and mentally prepare yourself for yet another mind-expanding knowledge bomb from America's #1 business coach, Clay Clark.
That's it. Bombs away.
Dr. Z, it is always ecstasy when you are next to me, and bugs are not near me.
No, they aren't, but...
You know, the bugs could be near
They
me,
could-
but
they
we
could
have
be.
chosen to hire Platinum Pest and Lawn to come into the man cave area and to remove any potential bug threats. There are no snakes by the lake. There are no mosquitoes near the Cheetos or mojitos. We are a bug-free zone. There are no bees near my knees.
Do mosquitoes really like mojitos?
See, I'm telling you what, the spiders are no longer fighters because they're dead.
You wouldn't know because now your mojitos are mosquito-free. I like
Absolutely.
that. And as cool as this man cave is, what bug wouldn't want to come here and set up camp? I mean, seriously. If
No,
you're
seriously.
a bug, this would be like Camping 101, Setup 101.
So we have Jared and Jennifer Johnson with the Platinum Plus team, Platinum Pest team. Jared, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
And Miss Jennifer, how are you, ma'am?
I'm terrific.
Well, I wanted to. I just got an impromptu show here. I was listening to a T.D. Jakes sermon. Let's go 3 days ago, and when I knew you guys would be here, I wanted to get your take on this because you're a very family-focused couple. And Z, you're a guy who's started from the bottom. Now you're here.
Yes.
And I'm going to cue up this audio. It's like a little 40-second audio clip from Pastor T.D. Jakes where he's sharing about this idea of, are we using our circumstances as an excuse or a catalyst? Are we using the things that happen to us to be an excuse, or are they the very thing that serves as the catalyst for our lives? So I'm going to play the audio. And then, Z, I'd like for you to break down what this means and how this is applied to your life. And then, Jared, I'd like for you to share about this because there are a lot of families out there with kids who are saying, because the world around us isn't raising our kids the right way, I'm just going to give up. I'm not going to set the standard. I remember going to high school with a kid, and his dad, I was probably 16 years old, and his dad said, hey, Clay, pleasure to meet you. And I said, how's it going? I never met the guy before, and he says, well, hey, I know you guys party anyway, so I want you guys to know as long as you don't leave my house, you can party here. And it was an unbelievable variety, a buffet of things that you can't have till you're 18, and till you're 21. Things you can't have. And his whole theory was, you're going to have it anyway, you might as well have it here. I remember this. Okay. And so he had kind of that worldview. And his worldview was, well, these things are going to happen, so I want to I'm just going to do it in a controlled environment. Okay, maybe that's your game plan. I've seen other people who have said, because my brother didn't make it to the NBA, I can't make it to the NBA either. I've also seen guys who've said, because my brother didn't make it, I'm going to make it. I've seen people react to environmental things. I've seen people say, because one relationship didn't work out, no relationships will. I've seen other people say, well, because the first one didn't work out, I'll make every other one work. So I'm going to cue up this audio.
All right.
And I'd like for you just to personalize this and share maybe how this applies to your career as an entrepreneur. So here we go.
All right.
Yeah, that becomes your excuse for your temper tantrums and your rages and your obsessions and your excesses. You always categorize it, I'm drinking because of the way I was raised. A set of twins was raised by an alcoholic father, and one of them grew up and became an alcoholic. And they said, you're acting just like your daddy. He said, why are you an alcoholic? He said, because I was raised by an alcoholic. The other twin never touched a drink in his life. They said, why are you not drinking? He said, because I was raised by an alcoholic.
So, Z, let's talk about that. I don't care if it's alcohol. I don't care if it's drugs. I don't care if it's rejection you received or a relationship that didn't work out or growing up without money. Everybody listening today could make an excuse. Talk to me about how you've been able to use circumstances that maybe weren't super positive and turn them into a catalyst to build the life and career you have today.
When people say negative things over you, you could do one of two things. You could take that haterade and you can let it get you down.
You can.
Yeah. You can take it to heart. You can think, well, there must be some truth to it. You can really let it be a speed bump in your life. Or you could do the other thing. You can take that haterade and you can put it over there in a blender with some ice and maybe your favorite ice cream and, maybe a beverage of choice, and you can blend that up and you can make yourself a fine daiquiri that you enjoy in the evening as you're sipping and planning on your world domination takeover
What's
tour.
something that somebody has said to you, maybe not a specific person, but something that was said to you or said over you that was just really not nice as a young guy, young entrepreneur, maybe in those formative years where you were thinking about becoming maybe an optometrist or an entrepreneur, or maybe opening up your second business or your first business, something where somebody really made a statement over you that wasn't kind, wasn't nice, that turned into motivation for you?
Yeah, I mean, two parts. One was early on in my education choices. I had family members. I tell the Aunt Connie story. If you haven't heard it yet, go back a few more podcasts.
Yeah.
But the Aunt Connie story was basically a family member, someone close to you that knows you, who's watched you grow up, cheered for you, and then whenever you make life choices, in their mind, think that they should have been something different. Your career, where you went to school, your even classes that you took, and why are you interested in that when you should be interested in this? That whole kind of, Monday morning quarterback, and you just have to not let that bother you. You have to understand that everybody has their opinion, and the fact that they voiced it doesn't mean that it gives it any more credence to whether they're just thinking it. And then you have to own where you are. You have to be able to, provide answers to why you've done the things that you've done. It's someone that's close in your life, instead of just saying, oh, you don't know anything, and march off, and then sulk on it. You got to be able to look at them and say, I appreciate your opinion, but here's what I'm doing. Here's why I'm doing it. And here's all the good that's happening because of it. And then they look at you and they go, oh, okay. And then it's over, right? Now, on the flip side, I had a lot of people in my career look at me and say, why are you doing other businesses? You're an optometrist. Why aren't you in there checking eyes? That's what you're educated to do. That's what you're doing. That's your lane. Why are you going outside your lane and opening up other businesses? What right do you think you have doing that? How does that overlap with optometry? How does that tie into that?
You're a disgrace to the industry and the profession
Right.
because you're doing $99 first exams.
Right. I
and
mean,
glasses.
you are pulling down the whole genre. And
Cheapening the brand. 7 days a week you're open.
well, and the other
You've
thing,
heard that.
So back to why am I doing other things? And I look at them and I say, well, I'm really an entrepreneur. I love other things. I love other businesses. There's no overlap between having an auto auction and being an optometrist with the eye clinics. I mean, there's nothing you could say,
Both sell to people.
well, we had a lot of dealers that couldn't see cars very clearly, so I thought, well,
You could see it, obviously.
okay, I'll tie the two together.
Vertical integration.
No, it's not. It's completely different. Sleep centers, completely different. Durable medical equipment companies, completely
Very different.
different. Doing an online business school, completely different.
Yep.
Having a thoroughbred horse ranch, completely different.
Different.
So, as I go in life and I do other businesses and I enjoy doing that, I've kind of got, people have kind of stopped asking that question so much. But I tell you what, you have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to be comfortable in what you're doing.
There we go.
And if you don't have an elevator story, if you don't have a story that if someone comes up to you and says, why? Like you two over here, Jared, Jennifer, why are you guys doing pest control? Really? What gives you the idea that you think you can walk into my house, spray chemicals around? What sets you apart? What makes you guys different? Why do you guys think you come knock on my door and try to convince me for you guys to spray whatever that's in your little bucket there, whatever secret sauce you have that you're sneaking around the neighborhood?
Barbecue sauce.
Trying to spray
the Sprite on the doors.
yeah.
Right?
If you sign up, you get the good stuff. If you don't, we spray the barbecue sauce / Sprite on your back door. But you've got to be ready with that story. You've got to be ready with the answer. So I'll ask you guys that question. What makes you think you can have a pest control company and go out there and spray stuff on people's houses?
Yeah. So is the question more along the lines, why did we start up the company in the first place?
Yeah. What gives you the right to do that? Come on now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I paid my way through school by selling pest control door to door, right?
Oh, really? Wow.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I learned how to get the business, and I knew I always wanted to start a business and something that I could work alongside with my wife. Okay. I mean, I see a lot of people, they go to work and they work long hours and they come home and they have a small time that they can devote to the family, right? Mm-hmm. And so I was seeking financial freedom and time freedom, but also when I was working or when I am working, be able to spend that time with my spouse so we can work on that together. And then by doing that, it helps us grow together. So the purpose was to develop the time freedom and the financial freedom and be able to build the strong family bonds that we were hoping to do.
And you
Ain't that sweet?
with Platinum Pest, it's a company that's done well. But there's got to have been some moment where something negative happened, Jared, where you could, either as a couple, as a business, you could have used it as an excuse to take the low road, to give up, to quit, whatever that looks like. And I'm sure you've found a way to use that adversity to be a positive thing. Do you have any examples of that, maybe from your career starting the business or growing the business, where you've had some serious rejection, but it hasn't actually set you back at all? It's actually motivated you?
Yeah, well, first of all, we started the business by going door to door. I went door to door. I sold the accounts. I serviced the accounts. I called to schedule everybody.
I love this.
And in the next year, we hired a few more people, mostly family members, to come out and do it. Now, that summer was probably the most stressful summer of our lives. I was doing everything from now we held daily sales training meetings with the sales reps
in our house.
I love it. I love this story. I love this. This is great.
Yeah, absolutely. In the house, it definitely was a family business.
With
right?
our 18-month-old.
I love this too. I can relate to this. This whole thing's great.
Yeah. So before we even had an office, and so when we took phone calls, I'd get a phone call and I'd run outside or run into the garage if our little boy was crying at the time, right? Just so they didn't hear that the noise over the background.
But you could have made it an excuse. You could have said we can't afford an office yet, so now we can't have success.
Yeah.
But instead, it became kind of a motivating factor, right? The family became a motivating factor as opposed to a distraction.
Absolutely.
Right. And Jennifer, what kind of adversity have you run into? Because you handle large aspects of the company. You help with the billing and the accounting and the systems, and you're kind of do a little bit of everything there. What are some areas where you faced some adversity or some rejection where you could have easily quit, but you've chosen not to?
One thing that comes to my mind is that so over time, my role in the business has kind of ebbed and flowed, and I didn't really have a specific role in the business. I did the accounting, but other than that, there wasn't a ton of it. But then there was a point when Jared and I decided that I would become more involved in the business, more in the overseeing the office staff a little bit more. I just, we started to define my role a little more definitely. And before that, I'd been mostly a stay-at-home mom, helping out when I could. And when I decided to start working more, at this point, we had our third child was about 6 months old or so. And someone close to me was, through good intentions, was kind of giving me a hard time about working more and not being there with my kids.
There we go.
Talking about, I hope you don't regret it someday.
So many listeners can relate to this.
Yeah, and it really made me think, what is the long-term goal? What do I need to balance? Can someone else do part of these things that I'm doing? And so it made me look at, what I was doing at our family life, and we were able to find, I had to talk to this person and be like, we're solid in our answer. But first I had to think about it first for me, about the why we were doing it. And after that, it was really good for me because it was a good clarification for me of why we were doing what we were doing, finding that balance of time with my kids, with Jared in the office, because that's also, that helps us at home when we build our relationship working in the business. Our marriage, gets better as well. So,
Z, I had a fun little story for you I wanted to wrap up today's show with. I think it's kind of fascinating.
Really?
We were building DJconnection.com, and the year was 2002, I think. And I got into my first wedding show. It was over there at the Warren, Doubletree Warren. First time I'd ever got into that wedding show. You have to pay a fee, you get a booth. It's 10 by 10 booth.
Oh, yeah.
And the lady who sold me the booth, nice lady, great show, well produced. And I'm dressed as, in a suit and a tie, and my wife's dressed sharp, and you can kind of picture us. We're 22 years old, doing the best we can. And we've got a couple guys helping us. And a lot of brides, one by one, would walk up and kind of give me the stink eye. And I had never met these people. They're like,
wow.
I'm like, hey, excuse me, are you interested in looking for a DJ for your wedding? Because that's what you would ask if people would walk by the booth. It's a bridal show.
It's a bridal show.
So you'd say, hey, are you looking for a DJ for your wedding? No, we're good. And I kept getting that immediate, like, shh, no, just no. And I thought, do we smell weird?
Huh. Wow.
Is our booth weird? I'm looking around the booths. So I just start to get kind of, something. So one of the ladies said, I really appreciate you, but I just, after what I've heard, I can't use you guys. And I said, ma'am, I just want to know, what did you hear? Just being very, very sincere, And she says, well, the email I got, just we all got the email. I'm like, what email?
What are you talking about?
So my competitor at the booth, who had previously shaken my hand, who had actually filled in for gigs in the past when I didn't have availability, I would refer him gigs. People would call to book their wedding, and I was booked out. I'd refer him.
Of course.
He had made an email from a fictitious bridal association networking group thing he created. It says fraud alert. And it says, no matter who you guys use, be concerned, don't use DJ Connection. They have a history of missing weddings and yada, yada. And we just want to warn you about this vendor here.
That dirty move.
In an unregulated industry. We just wanted to alert you. No matter who you use, just don't use. And he didn't, mention that was a pen name he was using and that he himself was actually a DJ.
Right.
His name is Zach, if he listens to the show. And so Zach, I remember going up to Zach. I said, Zach, did you say to these brides or email them all that I was fictitious and felonious and I was scamming people? He said, I don't know a whole lot about it. I mean, it could have happened. I mean, just that whole righteous, indignant kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And I got motivated because I could have just got frustrated.
Well, you could have.
But I immediately flipped into like ultimate sales mode.
Oh yeah.
And so the bride said, "Hey, are you guys looking for a DJ for your wedding?" And they'd say, "Not right now. I just And I said, "Well, let me ask you this: what's your main concern?" And I would not have normally pressed in like that. And they said, "Well, we've heard some things." I said, "Well, here's the deal. We got a special right now. It's $1 to book your DJ, and you don't pay anything until the night after the wedding. If you're happy, you don't pay until the end of the wedding, and you set the price."
Oh yeah.
And the first bride's like, "Excuse
Zach,
me?"
It's called the Zach attack.
She says, "Excuse me." I said, "Yeah, we have a satisfaction guarantee. A lot of our competitors don't like it, but it's $1 to book it. Most of the DJs are charging $600 to $1,000, and it's unlimited time, and you just pay at the end of the night based on how happy you are." So this lady's like, "You mean I could pay as little as like $10?" I said, "Well, you could. I don't think you should because it's my job and I care and I'm doing my best I can, but you can pay whatever you want." She said, "Yeah, I'll do it right now." Next. I start getting a line at the bridal show. When you see a line going,
you can't stand. You got to get in it.
Yeah, so we're all getting in the line.
Oh yeah, you can't
and
stand it.
It became this like huge thing, And then after the trade show, I wrote an email. I was very happy about my email. It's like a group email. These programs where you could send out the Outlook to all the brides.
Oh yeah.
And I said I said thank you to all the vendors for being. I love the show, best show. And and by the way, if we're not available, for your wedding, we recommend one other company in Tulsa, and it's owned by this guy named Zach. We love this guy. And I pissed him off because I was booking all the weddings, and it was just like one last way to kind of in his face,
Oh yeah.
And anyway, his career ended up.
Did you ever send him another gig?
No, it was funny because he kept getting DUIs and DWIs and things.
Well,
and
it's hard not to have a cocktail at a wedding, and then you got to drive home.
It was like a multiple times, so it becomes hard to book a guy when you Google him, and that's what you find every time.
Yeah.
So it became a self-destruct thing. But honestly, I could have just gone out of rage and attacked him and told all the brides, "Yeah, that guy's shady." I wanted to. It took everything within me, but man, I have never called a list more than that list. The day we get the list on like Monday morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm not exaggerating. I probably had 500 or 600 names on that list.
Oh, yeah.
And by like 5, I had called every bride twice.
Yeah. That haterade
We're
was
just
working.
calling. I told Vanessa's like, "Honey, do you want to have some dinner?" No. I'm calling all night,
I want some more
baby.
of that haterade.
And we
I'm
booked.
on
It was just
a mission.
me. Just me and one dude. And I think we booked probably 15% of all the brides on the list in like one day.
Oh yeah.
With that deal, we just decimated that list. And that became the catalyst event where we went from doing 5 weddings a weekend to like 20.
Yeah.
It was just awesome.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Sometimes it takes someone stepping in and saying, causing a problem that gets your up on your hocks.
You've had that happen to you too.
Oh yeah, get you up on your hocks, and then you go, it's on now. I mean, you flip the switch. You said
you flip the switch.
You flip the switch, and sometimes you need a little help flipping that switch. And because you always think, well, I'm here, I'm going to close all these. All these brides coming by my booth. And
I felt like we had the best
suit on.
The best booth, the best
got
suit.
My pretty wife here next to me. I mean, I
was doing lazy selling. I really was. I was
lazy selling. You weren't motivated.
I wasn't. I was
weren't
already the top
motivated.
guy at that point. I thought, I got it.
You're the big fat cat.
I thought I had it.
lumbering around up there.
Yeah, I thought I had
Little
it.
mouse runs in front of you. You don't even care.
Seriously, that's how kind of my mindset going into it. So, again, if you're out there today, I would just ask you as an action item or something to think about is what is the deck of cards that you've been dealt? And what is a circumstance right now that is bothering you? It could be something that someone said to you. It could be a bank that shut you down, a bank that wouldn't lend you the money. It could be a customer that rejected you. Because 2007 rolled around, I started to get very comfortable again. 2006.
Yeah.
And I booked every single wedding presentation we had during the entire year. And I was at 91st and Lynn Lane. And Shannon, if you're listening, you know who you are. Shannon and her man friend, now husband, Clark, came in, and they rejected me.
Why'd they reject you?
They booked someone else. They said Clark's rationale was, well, everybody I know has used you, and I just want some variety. It was at the Mayo Hotel.
Wow.
I remember,
want some variety.
Are you kidding me?
They used the variety card.
But I booked every single wedding. I was told, because every time I book them, I had a little hot streak. I had a little tally marker I'd put on the wall. Every time I'd close the deal, I'd tally with a little chalk.
Tally. Would you ring a bell?
I was on fire. I had like a year of no no's.
Yeah. Stop, drop, and
roll.
roll.
When he shut me down, I grew again. I was like, this will be the year that Shannon and Clark.
This will be my re-comeback.
Oh, man. It's like watching the movie 300 if I get rejected.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Geez. Well, if you're out there today, we care about you. We encourage you to not get stuck. If you do ever feel stuck and you want to ask a question to Z or myself, please feel free to email us at info@thrivetimeshow.com. That's info@thrivetimeshow.com. And if you have a snake near your lake, a bug that needs to be encountered on a rug, if you've got a mosquito that's buzzing around your mojito.
Oh, yeah.
If you've got any of these issues, you got like a mouse that's kind of at the precipice, the threshold of your house.
Yeah.
And you say, I want the bugs to go away.
Yes. Come back never.
Never.
Another day.
Another day. What's the website there, Jared, where people can get a hold of you and pay you money for goods and services?
Yeah, it's platinumpestandlawn.com.
Platinumpestandlawn.com. And what is the no-brainer offer you have for all of our listeners in the Oklahoma area?
First service is just $1.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's sexy.
Shunda. That's sexy. That's hot.
Okay, but wrapping back around to just something you said a minute ago. Is the reason why you weren't used in the movie 300? I know it's not because of your body, which is chiseled.
No, it's just.
Is it because your head was so big they couldn't find one of those helmets that fit over your noggin?
If you remember the movie 300, I haven't seen the movie in a while.
Because of that?
I have not seen this movie in a while, but I would like for you to
know you're ripped.
Have you seen this movie?
Well, yes, of course.
Okay, there's this area, this little narrow passageway, right?
Yeah.
Where all the bad guys are trying to get through.
Oh, yeah.
And there's 300 guys that protect that narrow passageway.
Oh, yeah.
And the issue is my head could not fit through the passageway.
Oh, I knew that.
When we started taping, I was on the other side.
I got you.
With the bad guys.
And they're like,
actors.
We only have $299. Where's Clay?
Where's
Clay?
Couldn't fit
Does anybody know where Clay is?
Couldn't fit my gourd.
Like,
through
sir,
the
director,
through the,
he's in the hot pass.
My cranium was scraping against the cliff.
He can't get to the hot pass.
I beveled my head to try to get through there, but I just could not fit
Someone
through.
bring some oil, some hot butter. Let's try to get him through the pass.
Oh, Jared and Jennifer, thank you for being on the show. Dr. Z, I appreciate you. Let's end this show with a boom.
Why not?
Here we go. And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1.